Hi, so it looks like I am live everywhere. Welcome to this week's Q&A. I'm going to talk about digestive health, the microbiome. It's so funny. That's what I was thinking about talking about. And then I had some questions about it too. So this would be a great way to get us started. And then someone sent me a picture of a label. And so I want to talk about that too, because y'all know that's my number one rule. Read the ingredients. So when we're talking about the microbiome, there are a whopping 39 trillion microbes in your body. So let that sink in. 39 trillion of these microbes are inside your body. So I can't even imagine that. So these microbes, they break down your food, they support your immune system, they create vitamins, they assemble amino acids, they produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine and GABA, nor norepinephrine, can't even say that, and they maintain your intestinal lining and so much more. So they're so important for our body. And when they are out of balance, we get inflammation and dysbiosis, which is also known as leaky gut, intestinal permeability. So this creates low-grade chronic inflammation, which can show up on your annual blood work. And so it's important to be able to really read these blood labs. When you get those results and the doctor says everything's fine and you notice some things are out of range, sometimes that can be an indication of low grade inflammation. Anyway, I am getting off track. So there are beneficial species that protect us from chronic illness. But when we have a low diversity, maybe we're not eating a wide variety of foods, maybe we're eating a low fiber diet, then we're at high risk of obesity, diabetes, cancer, ulcerative colitis, which is what I wanted to talk about today, IBD and IBS, and even autoimmune disease. So a lot of people with autoimmune disease, they have leaky gut, they don't even know it. And it can be related to foods that create inflammation in their body. For a lot of people, especially those with autoimmune disease, gluten and dairy are the main culprits. But there are also things like grilled foods, French fries, potato chips. There's the starches in these foods. When they are heated to a certain temperature, they become very inflammatory. And so that can affect the gut as well. So what does it mean when they are out of balance? We need a large variety of these microbes and a great deal of them too. So this is our personal ecosystem. So think you are your own little ecosystem. Since the beginning of the human race, we have people who do good things for people and we have people who don't. So our microbes are the same. We need enough of the providers and the protectors to keep these dangerous microbes under control. So even the dangerous ones, they can provide something for us. They can contribute to society. And so we can't just get rid of them completely. So like many people don't like poisonous snakes. We have snakes out right now. But if we eliminated all of the poisonous snakes, we would end up with too many rodents and things like that. And so even though we don't really like them, there are things that they do to help keep things under control. Well, the same thing is in your gut. We don't want to kill all the microbes. Like that's what antibiotics do. A lot of them, they kill a lot of the good ones, and then some of those that are a little bit stronger, the microbes can live and survive, and that can create problems. And so they're not all created the same. They don't all do the same kind of things. But if we don't have the right microbes, then we're not going to absorb the right things. We're going to have toxins that build up. We're going to have toxins where they don't belong, and then disease can grow. So when we combine our genes, low-grade inflammation, and high stress, we end up with an environment that leads to diabetes, obesity, heart disease, brain dysfunction, osteoporosis, autoimmune disease, cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. These all occur when we have toxins that get into the wrong place. And so not only does the gut lining get damaged, there are times when the blood-brain barrier can also get damaged too. So if you have a genetic tendency for certain diseases, you need to pay attention to these things. Take care of your microbes. You just want the things that are supposed to be there, keep them in balance by eating a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet. Now, am I saying vegan? No. Sometimes there is a place for some animal products that are not inflammatory, that are cooked appropriately, if that's right for you and your genetics. So how do you know if you are prone to leaky gut? Do you have indigestion, allergies, asthma, food sensitivities, skin issues, rashes, even acne? All of these can be a sign of dysbiosis. And foods are key to maintaining a healthy microbe. We're surrounded by poor foods, chemicals, toxins, antibiotics, chemicals in the air and in the water. We're under a lot of stress. Stress is one for me. And so we need to clean up the environment inside our body and inside our home. Clean up our foods, and we need to work on that stress management. Doing things like relaxing before you eat, doing the legs at the wall and the reset. That told everyone to make sure I post a picture of me with legs at the wall. I did it for over 3 years, every single day. And for some reason, February, March, I quit. And so I've got to start it back in the reset. So for optimal health, we need to focus on our gut and focus on diversity. Eating the rainbow. Remember, we did the rainbow challenge a few months ago. I think we need to bring it back. So each species in your microbiome, your ecosystem requires a different set of nutrients. And so we need to make sure that we're eating all of the different nutrients that we know we need to eat. And because there could be some that haven't been discovered yet. So we don't want to rely on supplements. Supplements are isolated. They don't come combined. Like they found that the vitamin C in oranges, when it comes packaged with everything else in the orange, that is much more beneficial than an isolated vitamin C supplement. So we want to make sure we're getting it from our foods, but we need the whole color, the whole range, all sorts of different types of foods too, to make sure we're feeding all the different microbes so that we are growing a large diversity inside. We need to eat lots of vegetables, nuts and seeds, things like avocado. So many people tell me they're afraid to eat avocado. They're so high in fat. Avocado is very healthy and very high in fiber. And look at that bright green color that's full of chlorophyll. That is fabulous for you. So please, please don't eliminate these healthy fats. If you have dry skin, it could be because you're not eating enough healthy fat. Now we can eat fats in the wrong form. So you want to make sure you're being very careful about the types of fat that you're eating, but nuts and seeds, and not overdoing it either. Some of us are prone to gain weight when we eat too many nuts and seeds, and some of us actually lose weight when we eat nuts and seeds. And so that's something else that you can find out when you look at your genetics. We need to make sure we're doing things like properly soaking grains, beans, seeds, and nuts to remove any of those enzyme inhibitors so that when we eat them, we can absorb the nutrients so that all of our microbes can get access to them. Because remember, those things are made to pass through an animal to regrow another plant. And so when we soak them, we're removing those from those seeds. Beans are seeds. I mean, they look like seeds, right? You could plant them and grow another seed. The same thing with nuts. And your seeds, of course, and your grains. They are all seeds. They should be able to be planted again. So we want to soak them, which is called activating or sprouting, so before we eat them. Anyway, so we want to do that. We want to eat the peel of our fruits and vegetables that are edible, but we want to make sure we're buying organic. Better grow your own, because sometimes they do, even though they're organic, they can legally spray some things on them after they're finished growing. There's a loop in the law. And so growing your own is best. But we want to eat the skins, because when a plant is under attack, if something is biting it, something's nibbling it, they can get viruses and bacteria too. They send out chemicals to protect them, and those same chemicals can protect you as well. And so you want to eat those foods to get those chemicals, and most of it is in the peel. And so we want to get the peel when we can, when it's safe for us to eat. And so when you plan your meals, switch up fruits and vegetables. Don't buy the same exact thing every single week. Try to incorporate some new things. Look at the colors in your grocery cart. Did you cover all of the different colors? We want to see all of those different colors to make sure you're getting all the different forms of fiber and the different vitamins and minerals that come in those different colors. And fiber is key. 95% of Americans don't eat the dietary fiber recommendations, and the recommendation is only 25 to 35 grams a day, which is so sad, because I easily get 20 grams in my breakfast without even trying. And so it's not hard. Those of you who follow me and eat like me, it's not that hard to get a lot of fiber. You can use apps like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer and see how much fiber you're eating a day, but that's a minimum. 25 is bare minimum. You want to get more than that. Now, you don't want to jump. If you're only eating 5 grams of fiber a day, you don't want to eat 75 grams of fiber tomorrow. You will have a stomach ache and gas and bloating. So people say, well, then that's not right for me. No, you don't have the right microbes in there. If you're only eating 5 grams of fiber a day, you don't have the microbes that break down a lot of fiber. And so you've got to slowly increase it to increase the right gut bugs. And we call them bugs. Like when you think about those of you who garden, a lot of you who live near me, you have gardens. You go outside and you don't see these bugs, but you grow a tomato and all of a sudden you have those tomato worms. You grow squash and then you have those, is it cucumber beetles or whatever? Anyway, where did those bugs come from, right? They weren't out there before we grew the plant that attracts those. You eat those foods that attract those different bugs. And so we call them bugs, but they're not really bugs, but it's just different microbes. And then we want the whole wide variety. If we have healthy plants outside, it manages it. It keeps all the bugs under control, like the leaves don't get all the little holes and everything in them. When you have a healthy soil environment, our gut is our soil. And so this is why I talk about regenerative health. We use regenerative farming. We focus on the soil and creating a healthy soil and lots of activity in the soil. Same thing in our body. We want to create a healthy environment, create all these healthy microbes in here. And I keep pointing to my stomach, but they're everywhere. They're on your skin. They're in your body. They're in your nose and your mouth. And so we want them. They're protecting us, even our skin. They're protecting us. And so the same thing is out in our garden. And another way we can do this is increasing our fermented foods. You want to eat as many fermented foods as you can, starting with like yogurt. If you can make your own, that is ideal because you don't know how long it's been sitting on the shelves in the store. They may have started with active cultures. It'll say active cultures, but how long was it sitting on the shelf? How active were they? And what was the quality of the probiotics that they put in there? We want high quality probiotics and we want them, fresh and vibrant, viral. And so you can make your own. It's so easy. I have videos for it. I'll try to remember to tag a video in here, making yogurt. I think there's one here in my Facebook group. If you go under files, I think you can find one there. Anyway, it's easy to make. That is the best way to do it. Making your own sauerkraut or kimchi. I have videos for those as well. And so making those is so easy, but you want to slowly increase that too. You don't want to go from not eating fermented products to eating a whopping large amount because that can disrupt your system too. Several years ago, maybe 10 years ago, we went to a festival that had, what is that? The sweet tea, kombucha. And they had you could go by and get cups of kombucha. And I drank kombucha all day, every day for 3 days. And then I got so sick. And luckily I was going to a naturopath at the time. And I told her what I had done. And oh my gosh, that's what it was. You just can't throw in all that. A, and B, kombucha is sugar. It's sweet tea that's been fermented. So it's not a good choice anyway. So kombucha is not one we want to use, but kefir, however you want to say it, yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, making your own is best. If you buy it in the store, it's usually pasteurized. And so you'll want to look for that. If it says pasteurized, it's been heated. And so those bacteria have been destroyed. But you can make your own and even freeze them. So I was thinking that I had a question and I see something that came up. I want to show you a label, but I also wanted to talk briefly about some things that may not be obvious. So someone had asked me about colitis and advice for colitis. And so, we want to be really careful with someone and this is for someone who's in the emergency room. I can't give personal advice to anyone. This is not a client of mine. I don't know her personal history. I don't know anything about her, but looking at anti-inflammatory herbs and foods would be something great to consider and looking into those. We know about ginger and turmeric as being very anti-inflammatory. We have herbs like slippery elm, which just think of the word slippery elm. It creates kind of a gel. It's very soothing and can coat the intestinal lining. It's great if you have even like a dry cough or something. Slippery elm is wonderful for coating the system. Licorice root can be really great. And it's also great if they have colitis due to stress, unless they tend to have high blood pressure. So licorice root can raise high blood pressure. So you do want to watch for that. Licorice root, all of these things can be irritable to someone. So I kept getting like not a sore in my mouth, but something felt like a sore in my mouth. And I realized all the teas I was drinking had licorice root in them. And I took the licorice root out, made my own teas without licorice, and I didn't have the problem. So apparently I just have trouble with licorice, which would be great for me because I do tend to have high stress and very low blood pressure, but unfortunately it's not right for me. Chia seeds. If you blend them, you can soak chia seeds and they get gelatinous. If you're in the emergency room with colitis, you may not want those seeds. And so grinding them to make a chia pudding or a flax seed pudding, grind them again. Those are great, very high in omega-3s, very anti-inflammatory. For pain, bromelain, which comes from pineapple, it comes from other things too, but it is in there. Enzymes would be great. I'm thinking Dr. Christopher always recommended cayenne. So it depends on how well you can tolerate. Some people take cayenne capsules, but cayenne is one of the teachers there was actually called Dr. Cayenne because if for any ailment, he would say cayenne. Cayenne stops bleeding. And so for people who have tears in the intestines, it can be a great way to stop any bleeding in there. Something you may want to increase. Dr. Christopher always had to start with a quarter teaspoon and then slowly increase each day until you could get a certain amount, but it helps with blood circulation and things like that as well. Anyway, I hope that this was helpful. There was something else I was going to, the food label. So someone sent me a food label and I wanted to look at it. I don't know where to access it. Anyway, it was for Rise, RYZE coffee. I wish I could remember. Maybe I can find it. Here we go. Yeah, RYZ. Here it is. So if you DM me, unfortunately, I get a lot of DMs, and so I'm going to focus on them during the Q&A, and so that's great. I love having something for the Q&A. But when I look at this Rise, it has organic Arabica coffee, organic coconut milk, and organic MCT oil. So thank you for giving me the list of ingredients, because once again, the cover can say anything it wants. It's attracting you. It wants you to buy this thing. It's all about the marketing. Whatever they can draw you in, they want you to say, this is exactly what I need. And so the cover says Rise Mushroom Coffee. That's all it says. And so you would think that has mushroom in it, right? And so then she sent me the nutrition facts. I never really care about the nutrition facts. If it said 50 grams of sugar, then I'm going to be alerted to it, but I really never really look at it. So if I look at it, it does have 2,000 milligrams of mushrooms. It has this wonderful mushroom blend, and mushrooms are wonderful for us. They're wonderful for our brain health. They're wonderful for inflammation. There are just so many reasons why mushrooms are great if you can incorporate them, if they're right for you. But the other ingredients are, number one, organic Arabica coffee, and that is listed as number one, which means it's mostly coffee. So it's not a coffee substitute. It does contain coffee. And if you are already inflamed, coffee is not your friend. So it depends on you, your health, where you are on your health healing journey. Then it contains the organic coconut milk and the organic MCT oil, which may be okay for you. It just depends on you. I have genes where I need to watch my saturated fat intake. And so if I saw something like this that has added saturated fats, coconut can be healthy for you, but this has coconut milk and the MCT oil and the caffeine. So this is not something that I would buy, but it may be right for you wherever you are in your journey. So I hope that helps. So the only two questions I had this week were about the food label and colitis. And it was so funny because I had already planned on talking about the microbiome. So I hope that this helped you. I don't see any other questions. Thank you to those of you who watched live. I love it. Love it. I love to hear from you. So let me know what you like or don't like. Unfortunately, my phone blocked part of the video for the YouTube people. I'm sorry about that. But have a fabulous week. Please post in the comment. Let me know what else you would like to hear. If there's something you would like for me to do differently during this Q&A, I'm happy to. And let me know what you want me to talk about next week. So have a fabulous week.